Hey, what's going on, guys? So I did a video recently on going to the casino. I mentioned there's two things I'm going to do. While I was at the casino, I had two ideas or, things I wanted to make separate videos on. Number one was talking about Guy Fieri and my disdain for him, my specific reason for it, which is very justified. And number two, my strategy at roulette. So this video is that. This is what I do at roulette. Now, let me start off by saying I don't gamble. I don't gamble much. This is playing in the background, sorry. So, this is not coming from an expert. This is not coming from someone with tons of experience at all. This is just something that I came up with while I was at the casino, right? And it's not an original idea. In fact, what's interesting is that I'm playing, I'm just kind of like playing around. I'm doing a bunch of different games. I like roulette. I was playing roulette at home, like on one of these games. I had multiple different casino, video games, let's call them, which you can use as practice tools, of course, at home. And I thought of something. I'm like, wait, what if I do this? And it's literally something thousands and thousands and thousands of people think of, right? It's a logical idea that's actually a very well-known gambling technique, right? Or method, if you will. Strategy, I like to use. That's probably the best word, is just strategy. So the actual strategy that this is based off of, that I did not come up with, but I thought of naturally, because a lot of people, human beings, think alike, it's called the Martingale strategy. All right, Martingale. So you could Google that. Now, this does not just apply for roulette. This applies for literally any gambling whatsoever. The idea is you make a bet, you lose your bet, so in order to get your money back, you double your bet. Like, it's that simple. Hey, I put $5 on the table, I lost my bet, how do I get my money back? Well, you put $10 on the table, right? If you win, you get your money back, but you lost that again, so now you put $20 on the table, and you lose that, so you put $40 on the table. So this does work, okay? The theory is, logical. The flaw with this strategy is your bankroll. That is going to be the Achilles heel. So the idea is that if I make a bet and lose and I just keep doubling, when are you going to run out of money, right? Now, this is very specific to what you're betting on. Now, certain situations you have caps or limits, right? So like, let's say you're betting and you lose, you have to double. How long can you keep doubling until you reach like a table limit or a game limit where you cannot literally win your money back because you can't keep doubling your bet? It's just too much money. That's number one. Number two is how much money you have, right? So you can't just go on. I mean, if you're an average person, you go to the casino with $400 to gamble with, it's not going to take that long to reach your $400 limit. If you go with $20,000, then yeah, I mean, with a higher budget, it just, the more money you have with you, the greater the chance that this is going to be very, very, very successful for you. However, this guy, the guy talking right now to you, I don't have a lot of money. I brought $300 with me, and that was still plenty with what I was doing specifically. I was betting on roulette, and I was betting color-based bets, which is simply, betting on black or betting on red. Now, the game of roulette is actually awesome. If you've never played it, it seems intimidating because there's a lot going on, but like any other game, you just learn how things are working, and it becomes more natural to understand what's going on and easier to make your bets. So everyone knows roulette has the wheel with the ball, right? So it drops on a number. The assumption, if you've never played before, is, well, you pick a number and that's how you win. There's many different ways to bet. Picking a number is good. It gives you high odds. I mean, it's a lower odd of winning, but it gives you a higher payback. It's 35-1 on a European table. I like European style roulette. That is the one that has just 1 0. That's it. The American style has a 0 and a double 0. The American style, the house has a little bit of better odds. It's still not like super significant. Some casinos, especially in Vegas now, they have 3 zeros. And sometimes it's not even a 0. It's like let's say the hotel logo or something, right? The casino logo. That is actually an extra space. The more spaces they add, the less chance of you winning, right? At least in some different aspects of it. So besides picking just an actual number, you could put a bet in between. You could play 2 numbers at once, or you could put it on the corner, you could, or the center, and you could play 4 numbers. Hold on a second. I gotta go back to the table here. Besides that, you could also play a third of the table, right? So you see here, these 3 sections, the first 12, the second 12, and the third 12. So you could play just literally number 1 through 12, right? And so forth. My wife actually likes to gamble that way. Like, she likes playing roulette, and she will do 2/3 every bet. She'll put $1 on each. I mean, in a game form, she might put $500, who knows, but she'll put 2/3 of the board, which gives you a really good chance of winning. It's 2/3 of the numbers, right? And then you win more often than you lose, so it offsets. And she'll do is she'll look at the previous numbers that come out. So in all roulette tables, you will see a set of numbers and colors. That's what came out previously. This is very important for you to know in order to do certain strategies. You don't really need to know this if you're just someone who goes to the table and randomly bets on something, you know, because a lot of people will say you can't really have a strategy because it's random. It's true. Every single spin is random. All right, sorry, an ad popped up. So anyway, so cutting to the chase here, this is a strategy that's based on probability. Even though every single spin is completely random, you might think, oh, how do you like have an advantage if every number's random? You don't know what it's going to be. Well, the number itself doesn't matter. It's just color. There are only 3 colors that are possible to come out in roulette: black, red, and green, right? So green kind of throws everything off. In my strategy, green means nothing. Once in a blue moon, I like to play around with just betting on the green space, the 0 space, like a $1 bet. Now, you could pick any number on the board, and you could put $1 on it, like at a casino. Now, a real table, they're probably going to be $5 minimums. You're not going to probably find a roulette table that with someone standing there, in other words, that's going to let you bet $1. It's going to be $5 minimums or $10 or so forth. So it's a little bit higher stakes, I guess. It doesn't seem like much, $5, but, you know, $5, $5, that adds up really quickly. So when you're like playing online games, and if you're going to a machine like I was at a casino, you could do lower denominations. They go as low as 25-cent bets. But you could sit on a green and win 35 times your money, because that's the odds, 35 to 1 for an individual number. And you could play that 35, well, let's say 34 times and not lose any money. If you win on your 35th time, you've now just broke even. But that gives you a lot of chances. So, like, that's something you could do in a casino that just, it spends time there without losing a ton of money. Like, if you're playing a slot machine, you just pull, and you're ripping through money, even 25-cent bets. But working something like this, if you're on a roulette machine, and you have a 25-cent, you know, drop on a specific number, like your lucky number, whatever, you could let that ball roll and hope it lands on the number literally 35 times, you know, before you lose your money. So that's kind of cool. You know, it's just something to waste time. When you're at a casino, like, you want to win money, obviously, but you should be taking like little breaks here and there so that as you're losing money, like, you want to have a nice experience. You go to a casino with $1,000 and you blow through $1,000 and you've won nothing. You've lost all your money in 40 minutes. That sucks. That's a bad time. That puts you in a really bad mood. So you kind of want to, like, take these breaks. I think it's good for your mental state and to keep it exciting, because you went there to have fun, right? We all want to win $1 million, okay? Duh, right? You're there to try to win money, but you have to get into that mindset of whatever I'm spending, it's gone. Like, I'm throwing it away. That's how I go there thinking. So anyway, so the strategy itself, again, look up the Martingale strategy. Mine isn't, I don't use that straight. Because, again, doubling, that is an easy way to get up to those high bets. And it's considered very risky. To me, it's not risky overall. The risk is not having the bankroll, right, or the money to follow up those bets. You don't have to necessarily double it every single time. Let's actually play here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, in my case, what I'm always doing is I'm always betting on the last color came out. Oh, I gotta wait now. So whatever color comes out, I'm going to bet. We're going to make $1 bets. I have $607 in this game as of right now. So it came out red, 14. So I'm going to put, let's get $1 chips. Let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing here. All right, so I'm just going to put $1 on red because that's what came out last. Let this roll. It came out black, so we lost our $1. Now I want to double. I'll go to $2. Came out black, so we're going black. $2 on black. It came out black. All right, so we want to run it back, right? So now we're going to start over. This is what I do. I just completely start over. $1 on black, because that's what came out last.
No more bet.
Now, what the modification is really is when I have a string of 4 of the same color, and we want $1. I will go back and I will bet on the opposite color, because the probability of the same color coming out over and over and over again drops dramatically with each time it comes out. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So right now there's 3 black. Let's see if it goes 4.
No more bet.
Well, there's $1 black. Oh, and green. So green to me is a wash. It's just a wasted space. All right. When it goes green, I do normally switch, so I'll go to red now. So bet red $1.
No more bet.
All right. And remember, I still lost it. I should have bet $2 there, but we'll go ahead and go red again. I'll just bet $2 just because.
No more bet.
Okay. So we'll go red again, right? $1.
No more bet.
And it seems boring, but this is like how I bankroll. This is how I make money. You know, not like hundreds of dollars, but 40, 50 bucks. We lost. We'll go 2 on black now.
No more bet.
This is how I'll make money to go play the slots, you know. And it worked really, really well when I went to the casino. Okay, so we got our money back. So same thing, black.
No more bet.
I just want to show you what happens once we get into a string of the same color. All right, black. So that's the 3rd black in a row. We'll try one more time.
No more bet.
So for me, it's 4 in a row. Ugh, green again. All right, so we'll go $2 on red now.
No more bet.
Oh, black. So now I will personally double. I'll go 4 on black.
No more bet.
All right, there we go. You got it back. So this is very common to get to. So I have $1 bet, $2 bet, $4 bet, $8 bet, $16 bet, $32 bet. You know what I'm saying? But usually a string is broken by then. Now, actually, now that we see that we have black, 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 green doesn't really count, but it wasn't red, black, black. So that means we had 5, 6 times it did not come out red. So now I'm going to go $5 on red. And this is what I consistently have been doing, and it works very well.
No more bet.
If I lose this, I will triple my bet. I lost. So now I'm going to go $15 on red.
No more bet.
Because the likelihood of it continuing to go black forever is 0. There you go. So I was under 600, or under $600. Now I'm up to $624. Right? So we made something like about 20 bucks just throughout this video. So that's the point here, is that I inch my way up, and this is what I did at the casino, where I would sit at this and I would just grind this out, this system, this modified version of the Martingale system. And by doing this, I was able to get, you know, $30, $40 chunks, and then I would call it quits. I would go to a slot machine and I'd make either 25-cent or $1 you know, spins on the slots. All right, sorry, there's another ad. So the drawbacks to doing this, again, is, you know, it's very, when you double your money, and you don't necessarily have to double it every time, you have to figure out the exact math to figure how to make all your money back at least. I try to make a profit on each one, so I'm not playing for an hour and making $4. You know what I mean? I want to make $1 or $2 every, you know, 30, 40 seconds, right? So I can slowly grow a bankroll. So the downside is if you do double your money, it happens quick. So 1, 2, 4, not a big deal. $8, who cares, right? $16, $32, $64, right? Do the math. 64 and 64 is 128, 128, 128. I mean, like, once you hit that $100 mark, when you're making a $128 bet to win $2, that's considered high risk, right? So that's where people like don't. Some people like draw the line like, nah, I can't do that, right? But you have to understand where you're starting and understand like what kind of a string of losses do I need, right? What's the probability? So if you do the math and you put it on paper, so I make a $1 bet, that's one bet. Then the $2 bet, right? And we have the $4 bet, right? That's three. And then, so 4, 5, 6. So how much money did you bring so that you can have how many losses in a row before a win, before you run out of money and then you lose everything? That's what you have to figure out. And so for me, it's very safe. I only had $300, but I was able to work on $1 bets very consistently. Now, at some point I made 100 and whatever, it wasn't 128, I think it was like a $104 bet or something. And I'm like getting really nervous. I'm like, damn, it's $104 on one spin like that. I don't got money like that. I can't just rip through $100, you know, losing $100 here, $100 there. So yes, that can get scary, risky. It can get very anxiety ridden in that sense. But for the most part, it stays low. I'm winning $1, $2 here. I'm losing $4, you know, but you know, winning back 8. So it works for me. I'm not saying it works for everyone. You can definitely, if you mess up the math, you can really mess this whole thing up. If you hit the wrong color on accident, that can mess things up. The one thing too, like, so like, let's say you're at a casino, right? Even if you don't play roulette, let's say you're not interested in this much at all. Your thing's poker or maybe like slots, whatever your deal is, right? Craps. But when you're walking past these roulette tables, if you see a string of 6 black in a row or 8 red in a row or something, just stop and throw some money on that. I'm telling you, it's just the probability goes so high of you winning your money, right? And then obviously you're just doubling it, right? So if you bet on a color, you either double your money or you lose your money, right? That's how it works if you don't understand that. But like even a string of 5 colors, like I would stop at a table and I would want to just throw down money because it's almost like a guaranteed win. So the big question is, well, how long can this go with the same color the whole time? The record, because I looked it up, was in 1943, and it was a string of 36 red. So that's the world record. It's like a 1 in 200 billion or some ridiculous amount, like chances of that ever happening. But it did. It happened in 1943. Now, not every roulette game was, you know, registered and, you know, considered for the record, but I've been playing, you know, the video game for hours and hours at home for the last couple of weeks. You know, being at the casino for 6 hours, playing roulette a lot of the time. I never got more than like a 6 or a 7 string of the same color, then it would swap. It's not impossible though. That's the problem, is that this is not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed because anything can happen. It's possible that you're going to lose 14 times in a row. It's not likely. Do you know what I'm saying? Where this whole system gets thrown off, and when you get into a losing streak is when it goes from black, red, because in my case, I'm always betting on the previous color that came out. That's the system that I've created. So if I bet black and it loses to red, and now I bet red and it loses to black, so that's where I get into trouble, where it's black, red, black, red, black, red, black, red, and then you throw a green in there, black, red, black, you know. So it's unlikely for that kind of a string to just keep going. You don't see that often in roulette for more than 5, 6, 7, you know, rolls in a row or spins in a row. So it's a safer way to play. It is very consistent. This is not me making, I mean, this is like, I came up with this in my head, but because it's like more like common sense. If you just really think about it, it's kind of common sense, but I didn't come up with this idea. This has been around for decades and decades. And like I said, thousands and thousands of people did different versions of this, and there's all different mathematical ways. In fact, there's a YouTube channel with a guy who literally, people send in their methods of play roulette, and he tests them and sees what works out pretty well and what doesn't. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, nothing. But it's a fun way to, especially with lower bets, dollar bets. You can use this again on a 25-cent scale. You know what I'm saying? 25-cent bet. Oh, you lost it? Okay, 50 cents. Oh, you lost it? $1. That buys you what? It buys you 2 extra losses in a string. So depending on what your budget is, if you only have $100 to work with, you do it with the 25-cent one. You can't go, and this is the problem when I first started trying this. This is as I'm thinking about this idea. I got the idea when I'm like driving. I'm just trying to think about different stuff, and I've seen a bunch of videos, and it kind of dawned on me like, well, okay, well, if I lose, I'll do this, but then I'll change that. And I went to the table and it was $5 minimums. And I was losing, I had a losing streak, but I was running out of money. And I just took the loss. It was like an $80 bet or something I lost. And I'm like, I wanted to take a break and recap and everything. Cause you know, when you're losing, it sucks. You start getting like angry and like, what the hell? And I'm like, my system's not working, you know? So instead of like throwing more money into there, having the confidence, cause I only had $300 with me. I'm glad I didn't, you know, in retrospect, I'm glad I did what I did. But instead of just being frustrated and just throwing more money at it, I just stopped. I took the $80 loss and I went and got a drink and thought, what the hell just happened? Why isn't this working? And that's why it wasn't working, because I didn't have a big fat wad of cash to back up those bets. So then I switched over to the machine, and then I was doing my $1 bets, and it worked. It was great. It was fantastic. Like I said, 30, 40 bucks. I mean, I crawled. This is like later in the night when I kind of started getting to the rhythm of things. And that's when I had, I think, $90 left or $92, something like that, and brought it back up to $250. So if I had more time and it was midnight, wife was tired, I'm like, all right, we'll go. But, you know, I like to start off with that. Like, I like to go to a casino with $500 and start with this and maybe roll up to like 550, 570, leave, you know, take a break, hit the slots, have some fun with the slot machines, you know, and then same thing with the slot machines too. Like, you kind of want to have like a strategy. You don't just like, so many people, they will go gamble and just like play random games, pick random numbers, push random buttons, and just hope it says they won $1 million. They like have no idea what's going on. It amazes me because there's just so much free information.
No more bets.
Right here on YouTube, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of channels dedicated on how to better your chances at winning at the casino at every single game possible. Literally individual videos on every single slot machine that they make. And another ad, sorry. So the information's there. You just have to go find it, absorb it, understand it, and then you'll have a better time at the casino, because if you win more money or lose less money, you're always going to have a better time, right? So there it is. A little confusing, I guess, if you don't do any kind of gambling at all. This would maybe not make sense or even seem boring, because it is kind of boring. But hopefully it helps someone out there. I mean, if you frequently do visit a casino, or even if you go once in a blue moon, it's just nice to have that kind of a strategy and to have fun with it. And like I said, I mean, even if you're working the numbers so that you're breaking even, you're not making a profit, that's safer. It's even safer to work these numbers where you're just betting to win your loss, exactly, without a profit. Then you have even more of a loss streak you can go within a smaller budget. But yeah, I mean, you gotta bring some cashola if you want this to work. You can't really do this with like $50. Even $100 is risky, unless again you're doing those 25-cent spins. But there you go. Hopefully it helps you guys, helps your roulette game a little bit. Again, I'm a complete amateur. I'm not trying to pretend that, like, you know, I know it all. I absolutely do not. I'm just telling you, you know, what I did, which I thought was really cool. I learned from other people. Like, I had an idea. And then, by the way, thank you very much to the person who commented. I didn't even know there was a name. The whole strategy here, I didn't know there was even a name for it. I thought it was my idea. I really did. I saw it in the comment, I looked it up, I'm like, oh, damn, this is like totally a thing. It's been a thing for a long time. Okay, fine. I discovered the wheel in the woods on my own. That's basically what happened. But I modified it to how it works for me and how I think it's more advantageous. So like I said, I completely abandon the entire idea of what's going on once I get a long string of numbers. That's like a separate type of betting strategy that I have, just because of probability. 8, 9, 10, God, 10 of the same color. It's just so likely. I would bet pretty decent sized money. Again, as long as you have the bankroll, you can win it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't get greedy. I guess that's what I would say. Because like I said, if I went to a casino and I saw 8 reds in a row, I am going to throw money on the table for black. Now, what I want to do is I want to throw $200 on there so I can win $200 real quick. But there's still the chance it goes to number 9 or number 10 or number 11. I got to make sure I got that money. So that's where the greed has to be swallowed. You can't get greedy and go, wow, it's a bunch of money real quick. No, I'd be more than happy to just get $5 and one thing, or $10, But if you lose, at least I'm giving myself room to keep adding, you know what I'm saying? So you have to be smart about it. You have to kind of be decent at like mental math real quick. That definitely helps. In a game like this, you can see there's only a certain amount of time before a spin goes out. You don't have to bet. When you're on a real table, obviously there's a little bit of pressure because, yeah, you know, people are betting and there's a limited amount of time to make your decisions and to come up with this math in your head. So I would say if you really want to do this with real money, practice on a you know, cell phone game like this and just over and over again, or practice on a computer, whatever. Just practice. Make it second nature to come up with these numbers in your mind, so that you're just not stumbling and fumbling around in real life when you're actually, you know, using real money. I also do want to say to gamble safely. Every time I make like I posted my video on, you know, my winning lottery ticket, and I had 1 million people say that I am a gambling addict. I am not. My casino video, even someone said like, "Hey, bro, so sad. You know, you're a gambler now. I'm totally addicted to it. No idea what you're doing, and you're gonna lose all your money." And you know, I understand that. I totally get that perspective on it. Anything I get into, like to me, this is a hobby. This is my new hobby. It's not something I'm gonna be doing all the time. I don't have the time or the money to go to the casino often. But it's just new. It's new and exciting. So I want to learn as much as possible, right? So that I have some kind of an advantage. And it's not to say I don't go to the casino and do all this again and lose all my money. It's always possible, right? It really is possible. But, you know, I try to play it safe. And like I said, there's a lot of great tips on here from other professional gamblers, especially for like the new person, especially an amateur. You know, like you don't really go and your friends invite, or there's a wedding or something in Vegas or whatever it is. You find yourself in a casino and you don't know what you're doing. Like I said, the information's all on the internet for free. Before you go to that casino, pre-plan, understand the different games, how they work, the rules, right? The slot machines, again, you can look up individual slot machines. Like with slot machines, that's a whole different thing, but there's high volatility and low volatility. Like I saw some of the comments on my video and people are saying, you know, the house always wins. The house does always win over time. Believe it or not, I've learned that those slot machines, they give back like 80-something% of the winnings to the users.
No more
It's just not you because, or not necessarily you, because of the timing of things. You know, every pull, it is random stuff. And I know a lot of people think, oh, it's rigged. Don't even waste your money. The slots are, you're going to lose all your money there. No, people make a lot of money on slots. You just have to know which to go to and what to do. So those low volatility slots, what that means is that it pays out more often, but much less money. It's not as exciting. If you're the person who sits at a progressive and thinks you're going to win the $38,000 that's on the screen, you better have a lot of money to sit there for a couple days. You know what I'm saying? You could get lucky. That's the whole thing. That's why we're there, because you could put 25 cents in and win $1 million. It's not likely. You know, people who are winning those big amounts that are on the screen there, they're doing, you know, max bets. You push a button on or, you know, pull a lever or push a button on a slot machine for 25 cents. You're not going to win those big amounts. You need like a full bet, which might be a $2 bet. It might be a $5 bet. It might be a $25 bet on the new ones that have like all these rows. You want to play 50 lines. You're talking about every time you push the button, it's $25. That's why you see them win those jackpots. I was watching a bunch of videos because now my algorithm on Instagram is all gambling stuff, which thank God, I'm a little tired of watching death videos, right? It's ridiculous, some of the stuff they show you on Instagram. So I'm watching these videos where like someone just won, you know, $1.2 million or something. But then you look down and you see that, okay, well, they were playing $7,000 pushes on that slot machine in a high roller room. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, it's all relevant. You spend big, you can win big. However, we all have that dream where you just go in there and you put the dollar in the machine and you win the car, right? Like Nick Papa Georgia, where you put the dollar in the machine, you win 10 grand or something. Yeah, of course, that's always possible. That's where pure crap luck just comes in, and you could just be that guy who goes in. But just you learn so much by just watching these YouTube videos. I'm telling you, if you're interested in this stuff, or if you do actually gamble frequently, you go to casinos, start watching some of these channels that teach you about this stuff. These guys, I mean, they're literally slot machine technicians that are telling you everything you need to know about how to have a better advantage. It's not about a guaranteed win. It's about the possibility of just winning more often or winning bigger. It's the stuff you don't know. What the game is really about, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I'll tell you something else, a mistake I made when we went to the casino. All right, that was the last ad. I shut off. Anyway, I was talking about the another mistake I made. There was a slot machine. I think it was called Hot Pots. It was a Asian themed machine. There's so many of them where you have like Buddha or Panda something and all these things, and they're very like these are newer machines. They're very flashy and all kinds of stuff going on. There's a lot of what's the word? A lot of psychology that goes into these machines that suck you in with the noises and the bright lights and the flashing. It draws you in, right? So a lot of these newer slot machines, that's what they're all about, right? It's all about the flash and stuff. So I went over to one to try to play it, and from watching someone else's video on it, I recognized the game. So I'm like, oh, I know this game. So how this works is a bunch of things, fall, and when you get a symbol for the hot pot, there's like a little arrow, right? So let's say in the bottom, I don't know what shape it is. The arrow is all the way to the left, right? And as you get these symbols, it goes up a little. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Once it gets to the very end and you get enough of them, it triggers a bonus. And that's how you make your money. You're not making much money in the game itself. You're making all the money in the bonus round. My problem was I went to go play it, and I didn't even think that there's 3 pots there, 3 different possible bonuses. All the arrows were down, like someone just won. So even though it's a random spin every time, if you're walking past a row of those machines and you see one of the pots is about to go, that is a huge actual advantage, because now you don't have to play as much or with as much money to get that to pop and get that bonus round to make the actual money. So you could walk around a casino, if you know how these games work, you actually can have an advantage. You could look at a machine and say, this is going to pay out soon. You know what I'm saying? Whereas a lot of them, you have no idea. It's totally random, right? Something else I learned too, like the progressive for Wheel of Fortune, one of the most popular things. My mom and dad love that. My mom specifically loves the Wheel of Fortune one. It's very exciting to play. But like the laws in with all these gambling things is that like dice have to act like dice. So if you have fake dice, they have to work like real dice, in other words. So the chances are the same. Roulette wheels have to work like a roulette wheel. But though that wheel on that machine that spins on top, that is not regulated because it's its own thing. There's no law saying that has to be an even chance of winning the $1,000 as it is the $20. So those are actually rigged. They're really actually rigged. So pretty crazy. Also, something interesting too is read the machines, because like I think it was, I don't know if it was that one or something else. Maybe it was a Monopoly. There's fine print on the machine that says that the grand prize could be paid in 20 annual payments. 20 annual payments. That means you win $1 million. Like, oh my God, I got $1 million. In 20 years, you will. So you might not understand that kind of stuff until, the time arises. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a great problem to have. I'd love to have to wait 20 years for $1 million or get it split, into 20 annual payments. I'm fine with that, trust me. But yeah, it's just not everything is what you might think it is. That's all. So there you go. There's a long random thing about me playing roulette and learning something and having fun with it, and hopefully you guys learn a little something. The big takeaway from this is not necessarily like go to my strategy. I'm just telling you my thing. I'm not trying to preach about it. It's nothing new. Trust me on that. I'm no expert. Don't listen to me at all. What I am telling you though, what I do want you to listen to is that if you gamble and you're doing it for fun, responsibly, you're not ruining the college tuition for your kid, right? Or saving up money for your wife's new car or something. If you're a responsible gambler and you do it occasionally or frequently, if you're good at it, I guess, my suggestion really is to learn. Like anything else, treat it as a hobby and learn as much as you can about it, because you will be far more grateful. Whether you win more money or not, you'll at least understand what you're doing. It's very, very intimidating. When you walk into a casino, there's a lot going on. There's a million different things you could do. And, a lot of people just, like I said, you sit down and it's just all random. You don't know what's going on and you just zip through it and that's it. If you put $100 into a slot machine, you shouldn't really just play $100, have a goal set in your mind. Think, okay, well, I put $100 in, but when it gets down to 50, no matter what, I'm going to just, cash out and take a break. little things like that are like really amazing. It keeps you from getting frustrated and trying to chase your money. That's another thing people talk about, is chasing the money. That's more so when you're losing. So let's say you're down 300 bucks, 400 bucks, 500 bucks. You're not having fun playing, you know, slot machines or at the table. You're no longer having fun. Now what you're doing is you're frustrated and you're, you know, grasping and desperate to win your money back. And that's not a good place. Like, you went there to have fun and now you're not having fun. So you got to really recognize those triggers. Like when you're starting to get upset or frustrated, just stop, just take a break. You know what I'm saying? It's not going anywhere. You can come back to it. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Yeah, it's just interesting. I love YouTube because it's just so full of free information about everything and anything in life. And this is just another good example of that. I'm learning so much constantly. This is just, like I said, it's new and fun and exciting. That's why I've been talking about it. That's why I went to the casino. Indefinitely we'll be going back. I don't know when. Pennsylvania happens to have a ton of casinos in it. Lucky for me, huh? So there's a couple different ones we can go to that are reasonable drives. I do want to take a trip, me and my wife, with my parents. I don't know when, but that'll probably happen. When that does happen, I will make another video when I'm there. You know, just talking about it. But anyway, for now, you know, it is what it is. Everything fun has to come in moderation. So, especially something that costs money. It's very easy to get hooked. It really, really is very, very easy to get addicted to gambling, especially if you're winning. Not so much if you just go gambling and you lose. That's probably just a hard lesson learned, and you might not go back ever again. Who knows? But it feels good to win. It seems easy once you're winning. You know what I'm saying? It's all gravy. It's all good. But when you start losing, it sucks. It's like the worst thing ever, right? Obviously. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day. Stay tuned. I will make a separate video talking about Guy. Ugh. Can't stand it. You might be surprised why I don't like him. Now, I have to say my reasoning has nothing to do with his personality at all. That's probably why you don't like him. Just because he's kind of a cocky guy, full of himself, you know. Just rubs people the wrong way. My dad hates him too. Oh my God, he hates him. And he hates him for that reason. He's like, I just don't like him. I'm like, why? Why don't you like it? This is before I told him my story. I'm like, Dad, why don't you like the guy? He's like, I don't know. He's just a cocky bastard. You know, don't like him. You know, he's so full of himself. But he watches his shows because his shows are good, right? I mean, you know, the drivers, dive-ins, and what is it? Diners, drive-ins, and dives? I forget. Whatever the hell that show is. My dad used to watch it all the time because the food looked good. That was pretty much it. But he'd be like middle of the episode, be like, damn, I hate that guy. You know, we'd have a good laugh about it. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.